Hello, welcome to another episode of We Don't Talk About Uno, the podcast where we talk about Disney's trading card game Lorcana. I'm here, as always, with my beautiful co-host, David. How are you doing today?
I'm pretty good, Simeon. How are you?
I'm okay.
Yeah.
I'm okay.
Yeah.
I didn't get to go to, the big UK Games Expo, though.
No, I'm freshly back, or a week ago I got back.
Yeah. So I'm probably not as good as you are. But,
not as good as me. No, it was a fun experience. Yeah.
Good. Okay, well, we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about a little bit about some Lorcana news. There's been a bit of news, but not a lot of news.
Not a lot of news.
So we'll talk about that as well. Yeah, and then that's a little bit of fun for the end. So that's the plan for today. But no, let's get stuck in. Let's get stuck in with our main topic, UK Games Expo. Okay, not only did I not go to this one, I've never been to the UK Games Expo.
You've never been?
I've never been.
Wow.
I have been. Is it in the NEC?
It is. It is in the NEC.
I have been to the NEC.
National Exhibition Centre in Birmingham, in the middle of the UK. Yeah.
Okay.
So the first time I went, maybe about a decade ago, it was near the NEC in a hotel at the NEC. So it was pretty small and intimate. And then the next time I went, they had one of the exhibition halls at the NEC. That 4 or 5 years ago. Now they've got 3 exhibition halls at the NEC, and they are absolutely packed. Far too many people for me. I'm not a big fan of so many people.
Fair dues. But that's amazing. And that's a testament to how many people are doing some form of tabletop gaming.
Yeah, and I think what I noticed is the extra space is being used for gaming, rather that it's not that there's significant, and maybe there probably is more stands, but it's not that there's loads and loads more stands, it's that there's loads and loads more gaming space, it feels like.
But that's a way that you can grow it without having to get more exhibitors. That's brilliant. Yeah, if you know, we've got X thousand more people this year than we did last year, that's a way that you can go, okay, guys, go game over there if it's too busy.
And it was still too busy to find tables.
Really?
At some points.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's a good problem to have.
Yep.
I guess. So long as it's not a Q fest.
Yeah. I was chatting to one of the exhibitors and they were saying they've never known a conference so busy, like just how rammed it was. This was the Saturday, which is the busiest day. But
brilliant.
Yeah, it was really busy. So I found Lorcana Street, as I said in the last episode.
Yes.
So each of the rows of stands in the exhibition on the map has a name, and I guess there's an option to sponsor it. So there was a Lorcana Street.
Oh, so it wasn't a whole street of Lorcana. It was the place where Ravensburger stand was.
I was really hoping it was the whole street of Lorcana.
Although they haven't revealed enough for that yet.
The stand was on Lorcana Street. The Ravensburger had a big stand.
Okay, yeah.
Pretty compared to lots of people, but not a whole street.
And were the game, because I saw some photos of the game demos, were the game demos at the stand or were the game demos at a separate bit?
Yeah, so there was about 6, 7, maybe 8 tables. So at each table you had 2 sets of 2 people playing, so 4 people at each table.
Nice.
And that's where you could line up, wait your turn. We waited about 40, 45 minutes each time to get a game.
Cool.
And they let you play to 10 lore. That was the deal. So...
Yeah, but I guess they've got if you're queuing for 45 minutes, it's probably better to queue for 45 minutes and play to 10 lore than queue for an hour and a half.
And play for 20.
Yeah. Well, maybe it wouldn't be. I don't know if the maths works out that way, but sure. Yeah. Just saying about how busy it was before we move on to the actual stand. I mean, it's the thing that really surprised me was that you obviously were going. Another one of our gaming friends was going. But everybody, they literally closed down our local game store because all of the staff were going. Yeah. And all of their friends and partners from the photos seemed to be there as well, which was amazing. Yeah. And a friend of mine who lives in the Midlands was going, and then somebody else who I kind of know from uni but don't really know was also there. Yeah. And I was like, oh, wow, this is mainstream. This is not... when I started playing trading card games, this was not a mainstream activity. Yeah. Yeah. But this is a massive thing now.
And this isn't a trading card games event, which
we might talk about. Tabletop gaming.
Yeah, tabletop gaming is massive, yeah. So we played to 10 lore. When we played on a Friday, that's when I recorded the little episode. We played to 10 lore, and then we queued up again on the Saturday. And we got the same demonstrator.
Amazing.
So he was like, you guys know what you're doing, just get on with it.
Lovely.
So we did. Well, he taught so that was me and Verity, and then there were 2 other people that we didn't know that he was teaching it to. So we did just get on with it, and the people he was teaching it to, by the time they got to 1 law each, we'd finished the game. So we got to 20 law.
Oh, you went to 20. Okay.
Yeah,
nice.
So that was nice that we got to play out a full game. It was pretty fun to do that.
Good stuff. Did Verity beat you both times you were playing?
No, I won the second.
You won the second one. You have to snatch back the title.
So the demonstrator, I think, was called Dom.
Okay.
He pointed out in the first game that I'd failed to disrupt Verity's board state. I was just focused on collecting lore. He was like, why didn't you deal with those? So the next game, I was like, right, deal with the board state first, then get lore. And that seemed to work better.
Yeah, I think there are, in multiplayer, so most of what we play in like other games is multiplayer games, and mostly Magic the Gathering's Commander format. And in that, there are things you can do that are better or worse. But there's no strict, this is the right thing to do. Whereas in 2-player games, especially with that kind of, like a race or a or 1v1 kind of format, there is usually this is the correct.
Well, it's a 0-sum game, and if you understand the game and you can figure out the maths of what you've got in your hand and what's on the table and what the opponent likely has in their hands or may have in their hand, then you can, you're right, you can work it out.
Yeah, when I was editing that episode that you sent me, I was like, here's what's happened is that, there's times that. And with Magic, I can totally see that. I can go, of course, you need to block here because otherwise do not block here. And then you can swing out for the win. And it's exactly the same with, I properly have to think about it because I don't play it that much. But with the Pokemon trading card game, there are times that's just like, no, don't put that Pokemon as your active Pokemon. Keep that one on the bench and build it up because it's just going to die next turn. And unless you can, you just need to be able to see that, don't you? You just need to be able to see that move. Yeah, I'm sure that will come with time though.
Yeah.
Or with thinking.
With thinking.
Paying attention to things.
Paying attention.
Damn.
I was just so excited to be there. I was like, I'm touching these real Lorcana cards and there's... I didn't get a playmat in the first game, sadly. But
you didn't? You got an actual playmat. That was a really nice touch. I think I put it on social media. I put a photo of the fact that they had the actual playmats there, so you could look at the... because they're producing them themselves, are they?
Yeah.
They're not like Ultra Pro.
I think there will be other merchandise that people produce.
Oh, probably,
unofficial.
Some point,
I've seen some of it already. But there's not like another brand on it. It does look like they're producing all of this. And the playmats are really, really nice.
Oh, that's
really
good.
Nice
and that's good to see because some companies, when they make their own, then struggle to to keep that quality, the quality that you would expect from an Ultra Pro, a Dragon Shield, insert company here that just makes gaming accessories. Yeah,
the collecting binders were there to it. They were inside of cabinets. You can touch them, but they looked pretty nice. Like not like the top ends that you buy, but they look really nice.
Yeah.
I like the Stitch one and Verity like the Maleficent one. So.
Lovely.
I think that's going to be the choice for the first chapter. Stitch or Maleficent.
Oh, this is the
binder.
You're going to put you're going to put a master set together, are you?
That's my plan.
That's the plan.
If I can afford it, that will be what I'll do. I met. I think while I was waiting, there was a guy in the queue, and he had like this massive binder, like a huge binder, and it just said Disney Lorcana proxies on the front, and he got like a logo. He'd like made this really nice binder. So I went to talk to him. I was like, and he showed me it all.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Did you play with him afterwards?
So he had a play set of every, 4 cards of every. No, I didn't. I should have asked him to play after, shouldn't I? But I'm a bit like you because you've said you're not going to play with proxies.
I'm not. I don't know. I did. I wrote an article. It's up on Medium. I'll link it in the thing. Of kind of like a load of people are playing on proxies. A load of people are playing online, like on Tabletop Simulator and stuff like that. And that's. I just think that's going to lessen the impact of that excitement of just going, wow, I've actually got that first time. I'll probably open a starter deck first, look through the cards in the starter deck to kind of ramp up it, and then there's a booster that comes in the starter deck, and I'll open that booster, and that'll be the first booster I've ever opened of Lorcana, and that'll be incredible. It's like, amazing, great. That I want that to be really special, to be, at least be like a proper opening experience. Ravensburger, if you want to send me one early, that would be lovely. Anyway, no, but it's. I do feel that having that kind of, here's some proxies and here's some other things, it just kind of lessen that impact. I've never, for our Magic the Gathering listeners, sorry, this is like the third time I've mentioned it already, and it's like 10 minutes into the podcast. I had never played with a proxy fetch land before I bought a real fetch land. These are like expensive cards in Magic.
I think that's a nice philosophy, isn't it? You buy proxies of the cards that you already own to put in other decks, or
no. I've never used a proxy of it.
Okay,
but I'd never gone. I'm just going to proxy this up while I'm. I'm just like, no. One day I'll buy one. And then I put it in. Now, I'm not against people who want to proxy. This guy who's had the whole binder of stuff was probably having the time of his life, if that's his way of enjoying the game.
Yeah, I kind of wish I'd had a chat with him and said, because he'd built decks of the playtest decks that were in the Ravensburger playtest zone. So
amazing.
He worked out what was there and built those decks. So I think that would have been pretty fun to keep playing those decks.
Yeah.
Maybe I could have asked him that, but he was you said Magic the Gathering. He was an ex-Magic the Gathering player, collector.
Yeah.
As was Dom, the guy demonstrating to us. So I think there's a lot of people who have been Magic players who are being, for whatever reason, for lots of different reasons, which we won't go into, some people are becoming disillusioned with Magic, or have done recently. Yeah. And this is something that they're like, this is a nice thing. Yeah,
that would be a really clickbaity video for some other YouTuber to make. Is why are you switching to Lorcana? Because there are so many players at the moment, Magic players at the moment, who just feel like, I'm like, why are you still playing this game? You don't have to. If you're not enjoying it, just go. But so we were playing at a little tournament that a friend put together, a little draft that a friend put together recently. And one of the guys there was saying that, he was really interested in Lorcana as well. Yeah. And he's somebody who I would not have pegged. Definitely not a Disney, definitely not a Disney head, but was just like, no, this looks like an interesting, tactical card game, regardless of what's on the art.
Yeah.
Okay, let's get back to the Games Expo.
The Games Expo. So one of the interesting things I thought it was interesting, and I mentioned it last week, I think, was that it was in the family zone. Yeah. So they could have set up in the regular gaming zone, but that's where they'd place themselves. Mm-hmm. So with lots of other. So Ravensburger, I wouldn't put as a family games company. The games can be played by families, but they're not playing games. They don't create games that are targeted at 6 to 8 year olds. That's like family gaming. That's what I would say.
You're totally right. That a lot of their games, they might be marketed towards older kids and teenagers and families.
Actually, they do make family games like Labyrinth and Labyrinth Junior and things like that. But that's not. I don't know. I don't see it as the mainstay of Ravensburger. They make all kinds of games.
Yeah, and you couldn't. Yeah, the child plays. Villainous, which is the only really Ravensburger game that I've played, unless you're going to tell me that one of yours the games
I'm sure we've played other Ravensburger.
Oh, I'm sure, probably. Anyway, but the child plays Villainous, and that's not that's not like super easy for a 9-year-old. That's a complicated game for a 9-year-old to really kind of figure out what they need to do to win. So at that point, you're right. But they do pitch things.
Yeah. So family zone is code for have you got kids between 18 months old and 10 years old who are interested in games and you'd like to play games with them. That's what it's code for, and that's what's out in that area. So that's why it's interesting that Lorcana had put themselves there. Mm-hmm. And there were lots of kids in the queue. There were obviously, I'm saying obviously, but I've seen photos online from other conferences where Lorcana demoed, and I've seen lots of middle-aged people playing Lorcana, mainly men. Yeah. But what was really nice at this expo was there were lots of families and kids lining up to play, and people of all genders and types, and
And that would fit with, looking at the stats on this podcast and on our TikTok.
Okay.
Obviously,
you can see who's downloaded the demographics.
There aren't kids listening, but there's definitely a much bigger split of gender split than you would see on. Bigger gender split. There's much more gender equality of listeners to this podcast at least than to Magic the Gathering content typically.
Yeah, that's interesting.
So where were Pokemon there, and where were they?
Didn't see Pokemon. They may well have been there. There was a Digimon tournament at the event. There might have been a Pokemon stand. I wasn't paying attention. There's lots of the main thrust of the exhibitors, I'd say, is like board gaming.
Yes.
And then Dungeons and Dragons and role-playing games. That's two. I'd say that's the two. It's not really a trading card games event.
Yeah, the other people who are just people I follow on Twitter, like gaming people, were there for the Dungeons and Dragons. I think the panels that I saw that people were on. It was like, oh yes, this is definitely a D&D role-playing game kind of crowd. But then again, it's understandable because I think there are an awful lot of small companies making a lot of products that they need to get out to players, and they need to get it out some way. Go to this kind of expo. You see something. People go with money in their pocket, didn't they?
Yeah.
People go, oh yeah, let's buy some stuff.
It's also really nice stuff. Verity bought a whole dice set with like a dice case for Dungeons and Dragons. She's never played Dungeons and Dragons. She doesn't really know what it is, but that stuff just looks really nice, doesn't it? So,
brilliant. So is she going to find friends, or is she just going to...
She's going to find friends. You say she doesn't have friends?
No. I didn't read that. I meant, has she got a group that want to play with her, or is she...
So she told me like the landlord at her local pub is really into Dungeons and Dragons. So I don't know if she'll try it. She didn't. I was like, you can try it? I don't know. Oh. Like I know nothing about Dungeons and Dragons, and maybe we don't want a big conversation about it, but she bought a Grogu themed set. I was like, what's that got to do with Dungeons and Dragons? But maybe you can do Star Wars Dungeons and Dragons. I don't know.
Star Wars has its own multiple role-playing games. There's an indie one that's come out that's not endorsed by... It's definitely not a Star Wars game. I can't remember what it's called. It's something like Galaxy's Edge. I know that's an actual Star Wars thing, isn't it? Oh, what's it called? Doesn't matter. Anyway, there's an indie one that people are raving about at the moment, which is kind of fun. I could imagine enjoying going into the Star Wars universe and never meeting any main character, but just enjoying being
in that Star Wars universe.
On a kind of Tatooine-style planet. That would be fun.
So this kind of leads to maybe one day we'll see Lorcana branching out into role-playing kind of Disney games.
Well, there were also... So Magic the Gathering is made by...
Hasbro?
Wizards of the Coast, who also make Dungeons and Dragons. And you can buy plain-themed books. So you can play a game of Dungeons and Dragons on Strixhaven, or play a game of Dungeons and Dragons on Ravnica. But also, Keyforge, that we played, had its own little in-universe RPG, had its own little role-playing game.
I recently watched the Dungeons and Dragons movie.
Oh, I haven't seen it yet.
You haven't seen it? I describe it as Lord of the Rings as if rewritten by Russell Howard, who's a British comedian.
Amazing.
It was really fun. But a lot of Magic the Gathering cards, obviously because there's crossover, there's Baldur's Gate, Magic the Gathering, but there was a lot of stuff from Magic the Gathering that was like, oh yeah, this really brings this world to life even more for me. So
have you got the bug now for role-playing games, you'd you say? Or
no. I love the movie. I tried reading the Stranger Things novels, which is also seems to be connected to Dungeons. I just couldn't get into them. I've not watched the series, but yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe.
Amazing. So you played 2 full games.
1 half game, 1 full game.
Sorry, 1 half game, 1 full game. And have you played with proxies since?
No.
But what did you learn from those games?
I'm enjoying watching YouTube content when people play with proxies.
Yeah, I've been doing that. Oh, I've definitely been doing that. Okay, so what have you learned, David?
I think, from the playing, both, especially when we got to 20 lore, and this might be about how they built the decks, although the decks did have a lot of card draw in them. So all the card draw cards that I've seen were there.
Yeah.
And they were coming up a lot, so there was a lot of that in the deck. But card advantage really seems to matter. We talked about that already, like having cards that draw you more cards.
Yeah.
You quite quickly, I don't know which turn, maybe 5, 6. You're out of cards because you're only drawing 1 card each turn and you're playing 2.
Yeah.
Because you're putting your ink down and then you're playing your glimmer or glimmers, especially if you've got low-cost glimmers in your deck.
Yeah. So, and you say you're playing 2, but maybe you're playing more than 2.
Yeah, maybe you're playing
action or a
glimmer. You could be doing an action, or you could be putting out a couple of glimmers. So you at least as we played, you quickly ran out of cards in your hand. So that then leads to kind of thinking about the ink resource for me, of how much ink, when do you stop putting down ink? Because I suppose the natural decision is, as a Magic player, I'd be like, I want to make sure I get my ink out every turn, so I'm building up a resource base. But actually, by doing that, you're putting yourself at a disadvantage in what you can play from your hand. So I think that could potentially be a really interesting decision point in the game.
Yeah, if you've only got 3-cost glimmers in your hand, why put down a 4th ink? Or, I say that. Or if you've only got 3 costs, why put down a 7th ink? Yeah, you can play that card as a card rather than as a resource instead.
Yes.
No, that's really interesting. And I think, we've got to see more card draw because there are some colours that don't appear to have any at the moment.
Yeah.
So I'm sure there's still more than half of the first set to be revealed. So whenever they get around to doing that, and whenever we see those cards, I'm sure there will be other card draw. But that's every card game we've played. Every card game we've played.
I was right. Sorcerer Mickey. When Sorcerer Mickey and a broom or brooms come out, that is intense. That is really, really powerful.
And I'd say that's from what I've seen on YouTube. That's exactly the same.
Mm-hmm. That's from what I've watched on YouTube. I didn't sadly get that combo.
So the decks that you were playing, were they a full deck or were
they were 60 cards?
60 cards.
Yeah,
okay.
2 colours. So there was, I think, if I'm remembering right, it was purple and steel, or blue and yellow.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And both times, or it might have been purple and yellow and blue and steel. No, I think it was purple and yellow and blue and steel. And both times, but this might just been the luck of the draw, how we played, but blue and steel seemed to be more powerful both times.
Okay. Well, it's got more card draw. So.
Well, no, because Friends on the Other Side is purple.
Oh, yeah, okay, yeah.
Yeah, so there's maybe a bit more card advantage in blue because you've got develop your brain. But actually the card draw, at least the card draw that came out in our games was purple.
Yeah, going back to Mickey and the brooms, I do think at the moment, that is an engine if you can get a broom and a Mickey because it doesn't matter if the broom dies.
Yeah.
But dies. Sorry, it's banished.
It's banished.
But at the same time, it is if that's the most powerful thing that we're at in the first set, great. If that's the most powerful thing to do when we're at set 3, I'll be looking, at other tactics.
There needs to be more ways to gain card advantage.
Yeah. There needs to be a lot more than and a lot more than relying on 4 cards in your 60-card deck. That's not.
It's 8 cards, isn't it? Because you're 4 Mickeys and you're 4 brooms. Yeah.
Yeah, but you need to have one of each of them.
Exactly.
So that's a difficult place to be, and there will be if that deck is viable, there will be so many games where you just don't win because I had 4 brooms and no Mickey, or I had 4 Mickeys and no broom. Oh, okay.
Yeah. So Dom, who taught us the game, he is a professional gamer. He earns his living playing games.
It's a fun thing to do.
Including esports, but he's also a professional. I don't know if he's professional Magic, but he certainly does international competitive level Magic.
Okay.
Well, he did until recently. He stopped recently. And he was Friends on the Other Side, so that's the one that draws you 2 cards for 3 lore. He's this is the most powerful card in the game as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, I mean, that's divination in Magic, isn't it? Yeah, that's 2 cards for 3 and gets rid of another card out of your deck.
Yeah.
It's not that you've just drawn 2 cards, it's the one that the Friends on the Other Side you're discarding as well because you're using it as an action.
Yeah.
I think that's clearly going to be that and develop your brain. I think are clearly going to be massive. And don't forget the coconuts, David.
I had 3 coconuts in the second game.
You don't want 3.
I inked all of them.
Yeah. You don't want 3 of those things.
if you've got characters, I think that's develop. What is it? Coconut basket, is it?
Coconut basket.
Coconut basket. I think it's good if you're getting big things out. But the decks seem to be constructed with glimmers costing between 1 and at maximum 5 lore, but towards the lower end of that curve. I think so that people could get a game in up to 10 lore. That's how
of course. You don't want to be doing that.
So the coconut didn't seem useful then because you might as well put out a 2 lore glimmer rather than a coconut basket.
Yeah, it's a different meta, isn't it? It's a different deck. Yeah, you're totally right. Yeah. Sorry, I was teasing you with the coconuts. Okay.
But another thing that came across, another thing I really noticed as we raced up to 10 lore and equally racing up to 20 lore, cards that give you more than 1 lore when you exert them.
Yeah.
Are really, really powerful.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
Yeah. Because when you're playing those lower cost cards, a lot of them you're only going to get to exert once or twice because they're going to be challenged and banished. Mm-hmm. So if you've got double the value from that one exertion, or double the value from 2, that's double. And then even 3 lore, that's just like, wow. So it might seem, it's not marginal, is it? It's double or triple. That's how you think of it.
You know what? And the granularity of a game really matters. I know I've talked to you. It's a difficult thing to explain. I don't know whether it's a difficult thing to explain. I've tried to say it to a lot of people, and some people have gone, obviously. And other people have gone, what? So one day I'll find a better way of talking about it. But the granular, as in the how many things, the number matters, because in resources, literally 1 ink. The next level you can take that to is 2 inks, which is double a 1 ink card. And having a double, having the second most powerful thing in the game, supposedly, be double the power of the first thing. Well, no, that's not usually the case, is it? So that kind of granularity, that's why I was happy to see that a race to 20. I think this comes up in a lot of games, like 20 life points or 20 victory points or whatever it is, comes up a lot because that's an interesting number for granularity. So I think that will be interesting. But it's a massive leap between collecting 1 lore and collecting 2 lore. This is exactly double. And I think I saw this a lot when we were playing Keyforge. That's got a similar thing where you turn creatures sideways to generate a resource. And the ones that had the resource printed on them, so you got 1 resource automatically when you played it, and then 1 resource when you turned it sideways, they were massively more powerful than the ones that just you wouldn't think of it being that much of a difference, but no, I mean, they're twice as good, but also because of that, sometimes they feel like they're more than twice as good because they're reliably that good.
And connected to that is an interesting discussion that I've watched on YouTube is around what willpower and at what is it strength or the attack value and the defense value.
Yes.
Where is between which values does it suddenly become extra powerful? And
what's good? What does good look like?
The guys that are unplayable were like between 3 and 4 is a huge jump. Because 3, if something's got 3 willpower, you can easily take it out with lots of different cards. But if it's gone up to 4, it's typically going to need 2 hits to take it out, and that's
So and then you're leaving 2 of your things vulnerable to be taken out by the opponent's things. Something I've noticed online as well is that it'll go build, and then 1 person will challenge, leaving their thing vulnerable to be challenged the next turn. And then because they've left it vulnerable to challenge, the other person will challenge back, the other person will challenge back, and the other person will challenge back, and that you get almost like a little board wipe halfway through the game. If you've left yourself open, I'll do that, and then I'll do that, and then it's like in a game of chess where rarely do you go, well, I'll take that. They go, well, I'll take that and I'll take it back, and then you've left yourself open, so I'll take that last thing. And you get rid of 3 or 4 things at a time. And I've seen that a lot in online games where you're like, oh, okay, that's interesting that you've got to think through that of, if I do challenge them, I'm leaving myself open to losing that character next turn. But then if they do take my character that turn, they'll also leave themselves open.
So one of the rules I hadn't realised, which is quite interesting. So say someone's got Flounder. Flounder's a 2/2.
Yes.
And then the other player has 2 Olafs. So Olafs are 1/3.
Yes.
And they want to take out the Flounder with their Olafs. So they need to hit Olaf with...
Sorry,
they need to hit Flounder with
twice.
both Olafs. Flounder has an attack value of 2. Each time one of those Olafs hits Flounder, they'll take 2 damage back.
Yes.
It's not like simultaneous, then you decide where it goes.
No, you do it each time the challenge happens. It happens individually, yes.
So that was a rule that I found like, whoa.
Because of that kind of, both that and also the fact that, we will see these kind of little mini battles halfway through a game where half the board gets cleared away. I think that the two kind of... the 2 keywords we've seen that are about combat, so evasive and bodyguard, become so much more powerful. In my mind, I just think, why would you not pack a deck full of those things while we're at the basic mechanic stage of the game? Because that's really going to mess up people's lines for that. The amount of times that they go, okay, well, you can challenge back, but you've got to take out Hercules first. It's like, oh, damn. Okay. And also, I didn't realise, I thought bodyguard was a defensive strategy. But actually it's quite offensive in that you've got to use Hercules for them to be able to attack into him.
Yeah.
And what are you going to use him for? You're going to use him for, well, you could collect, but it's a promoter. It's an action.
It's like a wall that you put up that allows you to use an attacking strategy, a forward strategy. Yeah.
Interesting. Okay, what else did you learn from the games?
Yeah, so my final point, and this kind of relates to what you said about that mini battle board wipe thing, where you come to a point in the game where everyone's taking each other out.
Yeah.
And what I noticed, at least in the 2 games that I played, but also in what I've seen online, is if someone starts to get even just a little bit ahead on lore, it's really difficult for the person behind to come back from that at the moment.
Yeah.
The way with the cards that have been spoiled so far. And I think that's for a variety of reasons. I think it's because once they've started to get ahead, you rather than catching up on lore, you're going to be focusing on challenging their characters, because otherwise they're going to keep getting further and further ahead. But when you challenge their characters, you're then taking damage from doing those challenges.
Yeah.
So you're going to be as damaged as they are from that whole battle, probably, or very similar to a similar level. And so then you get to a state where, okay, you might both have no glimmers left or one glimmer left, but they're still ahead. So to really turn it around seems really, really difficult.
And the other thing that I've noticed as well when watching videos online is that it's really obvious who's ahead, both in board presence and because there's a literal counter going, oh, I'm a 15 lore. Oh, great. And you're like, oh, that's, okay.
Yeah.
So I do wonder if how many games, in particular at competitions, are just going to be like, okay, that's fine. I'll concede. I'm not, there's no way of coming back from this. Or we might see cards which like turn a game around.
Yeah.
I think in particular we probably at some point need to see some form of aggressive removal, some form of like 2-for-1. Because at the moment it seems like you're probably...
Because even if you're using a removal card, like what's the dragon one?
Dragonfire.
Yeah. Even if you're using that, you've spent 5 on it, I think. And okay, you could be taking out an evasive character that's causing you issues with it, but you spent 5 and you've spent the card in your hand to do it, which could have been a glimmer that you got out. So it's actually quite costly to do that as well at the minute.
And then there's the other one with Marshmallow on it that deals 3 damage to a character.
Okay, yeah.
Again, you're doing that, but also if you're using that card and one of your Olafs, for example, to chip in the extra damage to get rid of a 4 willpower card, again, you're going down 2 cards. They've only gone down 1. Is that even worthwhile you doing?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really tricky, that kind of how will this not... Sorry, I'm talking about Olaf, and I was about to say it's hard to see it not snowballing. Okay,
very good,
whatever. No, but that doesn't make. Once you've seen that 3 or 4 times, are people just going to go, well, you're ahead, that's fine. You're ahead, that's fine. Whatever.
Well, I hope that there'll be more cards like the Red Aladdin that's been spoiled. So that's Aladdin Heroic Outlaw. So that's presumably when Aladdin is in his thief stage.
This is the intro deck Aladdin.
Intro deck Aladdin. So it's a 7 cost 7 ink.
Yep.
And it's a 5/5, 5 strength, 5 willpower, and it has 2 lore when you exert it. But the significant thing is its ability of Daring Exploit, which is during your turn, whenever this character banishes another character, and as a 5/5, hopefully he's doing quite a lot of banishing.
Might do that, yeah.
In a challenge, you gain 2 lore, and each opponent loses 2 lore. So that's a way to turn the game, because you're starting to come back, and they're going down.
Yeah.
So for me, there needs to be more. What's interesting to me is this is a red card.
Yeah.
Which red seems to be the colour that's going to race ahead anyway. So I'm curious they put this in red.
Or maybe that's why.
Okay, so you get even further ahead?
Well, I think that in other card games, the things are costed as per how easy it is to generate resources in that colour.
Okay.
Like in Magic the Gathering, a lot of green things seem like a lot of mana, but they're not because they're green. So you're going to get
easy to get that mana in green.
Yeah. It's just like a 12 mana thing. How will I ever make that? Oh, you're in green. You'll do fine, mate. Don't worry. Yeah. But in maybe that's the case in red, where red is going to get you ahead on ink. So therefore, it's not such a such a difficult thing. But yeah, there really needs to be more of those cards which will just turn a game, or turn your deck on. Because I think there are other decks that I've seen people trying that if it doesn't, you're right, that if they don't start strong, then they're not gonna get there.
Yeah.
The mulligan rule will hopefully mean that a lot of people's decks have a chance to shine.
Yeah, it's a really nice mulligan rule. It really allows you to shape your hand, isn't it? You choose which of your hand you keep, and then you discard the rest, and then draw back up to 7 cards. It's really nice. Yeah.
Do you discard them, or do you put them on the
bottom? You put them on the bottom of your deck. I think then you shuffle after you.
Oh, okay.
So you put them on the bottom of your deck, draw up, and then shuffle.
Yeah. So that's great. That's the most the most permissive style, really, isn't it? It's like, I like these ones, I don't like those ones, I'll get a second chance. So I think very few games will have that initial stall of, I've lost the game before I've even played the first card.
The other thing that I think is going to allow people to come back from being behind is, and I'm just trying to find the name of the ability, it's the Rabbit's Pocket Watch. What does that give? Here it is. It gives characters rush.
Okay.
So say you've done that kind of, your opponent's ahead, so you've had to take out their characters, and that's been the focus of what you've been doing. So you're both like down to 0 glimmers or 1 glimmer each. And then you're starting to bring more out. If yours have rush, that's going to then put you a turn ahead compared to them, which you'll need if you're behind. Because if you're behind and you're not catching up a turn, then you're never going to catch up.
So rush means that you can use characters the turn they come
exactly.
in.
You can turn them. You can turn them to gather lore or to challenge the turn that they get played.
And to be honest, in a game with no instant speed interaction, no interaction on your opponent's turn, then that's going to seem even more.
That's true. I hadn't thought about that before. Yeah.
Rush makes it almost. Rush is double ego.
It's like evasive. This seems like a keyword that you just really want to focus on. But
and I think a lot of games are like that when they first come out. It's the keywords and the basic mechanics of the game that are important. It's not the minutiae of different abilities on particular cards. It's often we just need to get this mathematically viable. Okay. Nice. Any final thoughts from the UK Games Expo?
I just loved it. It was great. Yeah.
Amazing.
Loved playing Lorcana. Really excited to play it. Yeah, Verity, it was her first experience of Lorcana. I literally just spoke to her about it the night before and like, do you want to come and do this thing with me? And she's like, yeah, let's do it. Amazing. And then she loved it and she's like, I want to collect it now. So,
great.
Yeah.
Got one convert.
So it really seems to draw people in, and it seemed to be the same with the kids. Obviously, people that were there had queued up for 45 minutes to play it, so they were invested, but they seem to be loving it. Yeah.
So before we move on from Games Day, what did you spend money on?
What did I spend money on? Sadly, not Lorcana, because there wasn't anything to buy.
No, but did you pick up any other games?
Yeah, I've got a little person, so I bought a game called My Little Everdell, which is a tableau building game in the forest with really cute little creatures, and it's for age 6+, and that seems to be about right.
Nice.
It's a fun game. I also found one called Llama Land, which is quite a simple game. I'm
in already. Just on the title, I'm there.
We went back to Verity's house to play it, and she's got like one of those leaf tables from IKEA where you fold out half of it, and that's like enough. That's plenty for most board games for 3 people to sit around and play. So we did that, and then we're like, okay, this is getting bigger and bigger. We're putting more and more stuff out, and it's quite a simple game. So you're like, why is this getting so big? We took over, and we then put up the other leaf. So this is as big as the table in your dining room, which is absolutely massive.
Yeah.
And it took over the whole table. And it felt like we didn't have enough space. And this was 3 players playing this game. It was mad. It's a fun game, but it takes up way too much space for the level of complexity that's in the game. It's not a complex game.
Yeah, some of those games where you can like, well, do we start this on the floor? Or do we... I kind of feel that way when I'm playing Carcassonne, which lots of people will have played.
Yeah.
And the Carcassonne rule is you get to the edge of the table, that's it, that's the edge of the world, you can't build further. But when you're playing that with kids, that's such a mean rule. Like, but my road's going that way. And it's so often I've just been like, come on, let's get on the floor. That's much better.
And then the final thing I bought was a game called Catapult Feud, which is it's not, so in the 80s there was a game called Crossbows and Catapults that I was so jealous of people that had it, and I never got to play it or have it. Or it's like you build a castle out of plastic bricks and you throw boulders at other people's castles with your catapult.
Brilliant.
So a company's basically redone it, but it's not called the same thing. I don't know if the copyright's expired or something, but they've. I mean, I don't know if it's something you can flicking boulders with elastic bands is probably not copyrighted, is it? But they've done it really nicely, like the plastic bricks and the boulders and everything's just like weighting is so important. How heavy things are.
It has to work. Yeah.
Really, really matters. And also the minis are really just well designed. Like they're just putting stupid faces. Like you've got these medieval soldiers, but they're putting silly faces like, can you hit me? It's like really fun.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Oh, that sounds fun. Sounds fun.
I might bring it over sometime, Simeon. I'm sure a child would like it, if not you.
Yeah, please do. Please do. Nice little summer game. Okay, so moving on to
some Lorcana news.
The news. We've got 2 items of news, which one of them isn't even an item. However, I think it would be remiss of us not to mention this. I don't want to get into details. I don't want to give it more time than I think it deserves, or more brain space in my head than I think it
certainly
deserves.
Caused a stir online. It's given people something to talk about.
So basically, Upper Deck, who is a company that produces mostly sports cards, they've previously done some trading card games, but they are suing Lorcana, both Ravensburger and Ryan Miller, because allegedly, Rush of Ichor, a game that he has also worked on, is very similar to Lorcana. So I'll just read this from Polygon.com. The game Upper Deck says it paid Miller to design is called Rush of Ichor. It has not yet been released. Players are said to take on the role of gods, such as those once worshipped by ancient Greeks and indigenous Mesoamericans. The complaint goes into great detail to prove its claim that Disney Lorcana and Rush of Ichor have the same or similar mechanics. It also calls into question Miller and Ravensburger intent with regards to the resource system for their own game. The complaints are live online. You can go and read the whole thing if you so want. I did and thought about it for a couple of hours, and I came to no conclusion because I'm not a lawyer. And even if I was a lawyer, I'm not a lawyer in the States where this has been filed. I don't know if this is reasonable. And everybody commenting online, most of them are also not lawyers and also don't know what they're talking about.
The most interesting comments are from people who are gamers and who understand law, especially this area of law.
Totally, yeah.
But even then,
I don't know.
Yeah, there's not. It's like it's going to court and it's the judge to decide. And
a lot of people are asking if this will affect the game. Most lawyers online seem to think that the release schedule won't be impacted. But at the same time, Upper Deck have asked for an injunction so that Lorcana can't be released. But whether that will be granted or not, who knows? There's a lot of speculation.
I hope we get to play Lorcana in the summer.
Yeah. So. I mean, we're very close. We're very close to the launch date.
Yeah.
There's a lot of speculation about why this has been filed, whether it's a genuine complaint. I don't know. Who knows? Nobody can know that. The CEO.
What I will say is it seems to be quite emotive, the language in the complaint, rather than a neutral legal language. So someone's quite upset, it seems like.
Yeah. The other thing is that Upper Deck's president, not CEO, sorry, president, is doing media about this.
Interesting. Is that normal in this kind of case? I don't know.
Once again, I don't know. I mean, it makes it more interesting if it is.
Yeah.
It makes it more interesting. It's more people are more interesting than court cases, aren't they? Yeah. So at which point it's like, okay.
Ravensburger have tweeted about it as well. I think maybe we should read their tweet.
Oh, sorry. Yes. Yeah. We should also say...
So while you're looking that up, an interesting point, or a couple of interesting points from the expo. Ryan Miller was there, and I wish I'd had the courage to go up and say, can I do an interview with you? But he was literally at these demonstrating tables, demonstrating Lorcana with people. I just wish I'd got his table. That would have been cool.
Yeah, that would have been cool, but at the same time, interrupting somebody else's time with Ryan Miller, probably not that cool.
No, it would have been cool. It would have been cool to end up on his table. Yeah. Whenever it was, I guess I could have asked the person running the stand, is Ryan Miller available? When can I come over and chat with him? But But the person running the stand, she had what I would say is a German accent. She spoke English. And she was working for Ravensburger. So I wanted to resolve a dilemma that I have. Is it Ravensburger or Ravensburger? So I asked her.
And she said...
What do you think she said?
I have no idea. I don't speak German.
Ravensburger. So we've been getting it right. If we want to say it in the style that the company itself says it, yeah.
Yeah, if the company calls it that, that's what we call it, right? Yeah. I'm going to go with that. Nice. Okay, sorry, I found the tweet from Ravensburger. And this is on the Ravensburger North America Twitter account. We at Ravensburger stand behind the integrity of our team and the originality of our product. The baseless claims filed this week are entirely without merit, and we look forward to proving this in due time. In the meantime, our focus continues to be on developing and launching a fantastic game in August.
There you go.
So it seems that Ravensburger are still planning to, they don't think that they'll have to delay the release.
I think we'll know pretty soon because it will come to court. So from the legal, from the legal opinions I've read, well, it needs to happen soon.
Yeah, it needs to happen soon anyway.
So it's likely to happen in the next few weeks, and then when it does, it will go to court and we'll know.
Well, there we go. That was some non-news.
What's the other news, Simeon?
Sorry for our second amazing part of non-news. There's been absolute radio silence on spoilers.
No cards revealed, no more.
No cards revealed for about a month now. And the ones that are have been revealed are just images, not with the cards in. It's not, here's a reveal of a card, so you get kind of half the card with half the text, or something like that. And this has to be intentional. This isn't, we ran out of cards, because we know there's 204 cards in the base set.
In the first chapter, yeah.
In the first chapter. They haven't ran out of cards to reveal. They're just not revealing anymore. Why do you think this is, David?
Well, we do quite often talk about launches and marketing because we have a bit more expertise there, don't we? That's kind of where we're at. But I'm baffled. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm baffled. Yeah, we've both David and I have worked on product marketing and product launches and things like that. And generally, you want to ramp up to the launch. More growth isn't generally a bad thing. There's a couple of things I have thought. I did wonder whether at some point they've looked at... So there are whispers on the internet. A lot of these come from individuals in the community that aren't always that helpful, about allocation numbers. So when a shop tries to order things from their distributor, how many of those items can they order? So if I wanted to order 100 boxes of Lorcana, am I allowed to do that? Or am I capped as a game store at ordering 20 boxes of it?
Yeah.
So there have been rumours about that online, not all of them helpful, about whether numbers are capped. And at that point, is it that Ravensburger has seen the orders coming in, and they've gone, we don't know if we can fulfill these. There are still global...
So they want to slow down the hype train.
I mean, not having cards at launch is worse than having a smaller launch.
People being that disappointed that they're disillusioned with the game.
That
becomes a story then, I guess, doesn't it? It's like...
People
can't get cards. I can get cards. I don't like this game. I'm going to go do something else. I'm going to play Pokemon.
Yeah. This company isn't competent at producing a game, therefore I don't want to play.
So part of their manner of being competent is to put the brakes on any more hype.
To be able to service the customers they already have.
Yeah.
That's a potential.
Yeah.
That's a potential. I'm not saying I've no idea. I've no inside information. I don't know.
Yeah.
But that was something that I thought, okay, maybe. The other thing is that at the moment we've noticed that a lot of the things that are going on, they're not making the most of the opportunities that they've got. As in, for example, there was a Twitter takeover where Ryan Miller and Steve, I forgot his name, went on Twitter for an evening to answer people's questions. The questions that they were asking were questions we already knew the answers to, and this was on Twitter. When other companies do this, they do a massive thing. When the Pokemon Company launch stuff, they have the director of the Pokemon Company on a live stream, and they live stream the director of the Pokemon Company. Yeah. When Wizards of the Coast launch Magic products, they have people who have worked on the set. They're answering questions on Twitch.
Yeah.
And Ravensburger aren't doing this. Now, is it that they want to start doing this, and at that point they want that to be hype? So if around the launch at Gen Con, they really want to start pushing things, and they're going to need to have stuff for people to be hyped about. If they've already revealed everything before Gen Con...
So this is about syncing up their promotional strategies.
Syncing up the promotional strategies. That's the only other thing I can think of.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is baffling having worked on different campaigns. You generally want to ramp up to the thing, not slow down.
It's really close, doesn't it? It's felt like a long way away forever, and suddenly it's like, oh, it's only a couple of months now.
Yeah. In 2 months, we'll be like people, not us. People at Gen Con will have cards.
Yeah.
Weird. Anyway, that was the other non-news. So 2 pieces of non-news, not the news. Law cases are boring. Don't pay attention to them. And
it won't be boring if the launch gets cancelled. Can you imagine?
Okay.
Were we doing this in 2030? You'd be like speculating on the first chapter.
Doing our biannual episode. So the first chapter still hasn't been revealed.
That was a joke. It wasn't a legal opinion, just for anyone listening.
I think we've made clear we are not lawyers. We don't know what we're talking about. All of these things are Let's chat to the child. See what he's been up to.
Okay.
It's the child. How are you doing today, child?
Good.
What have you been up to today? Have you downloaded a new app or something?
Yes, I have.
What have you been playing today?
The Pokemon TCG live game.
Yeah, so Pokemon have just updated their app because it used to be called Pokemon TCG Online.
They didn't. I think they made it a separate app.
Oh, it's a brand new app, yeah.
Yeah, because the old one
is old.
Very old.
Was old. How's your record? I played 3 games on it. I lost every single one.
I've won 4.
Nice. How many have you played, though?
I think it was 16.
Oh, so you played quite a lot, but you started winning.
Yeah, I've started winning.
Amazing.
Chose a great deck. That's good.
What deck are you playing?
Origin Form, Palkia EX.
Palkia EX.
Origin Form.
I don't know what that is, but sure, great, amazing. Great, okay, what are we going to do today?
Not sure.
Let's try this again. What are we going to do today?
A quiz.
We got a quiz. It's a great quiz.
What quiz is it?
This quiz is, what Disney princess are you? We did what Gravity Falls character are you? And we thought it would be a bit of fun to do what Disney princess. So,
yes.
Out of these weekend activities,
yes,
are you more likely to be curling up with a book,
yeah,
exploring a farmer's market,
yeah,
cooking,
yeah,
putting your feet up, anything outside, a walk in the woods, spending time alone, or hanging out with friends? This is lots of options.
Hanging out with friends.
Hanging out with friends. The animal who will lead your inevitable royal parade is a raccoon, a fish, a tiger, a dragon, a horse, an owl, an alligator, or a chameleon. Sorry, a chameleon.
Alligator.
An alligator? Yes, but that is the most like Cooper. We have a pet tortoise, yes. Anyway, the most important quality to look for in a prince. So think of your, best buds. Charm, kindness, dreaminess, humour, honour, personality, smoulder, or you don't need no prince.
What is it? Smolder.
We can go with smoulder. Which of these outfit elements are you most likely to wear? Sweats, which is, sweatpants. You know what I mean. What is that called in the
sweatsuit?
Tracksuit bottoms. That's what we call them. In the UK, we call those tracksuit bottoms. A dress, heels, glass slippers, a headband, a necklace, a skirt, or a vest.
A vest.
A vest. Good. Your favourite place to sing is... Why are you laughing? A forest, a field of flowers, the beach, on the go, in my room, while doing chores, under a willow tree, or I don't sing.
I don't sing.
Fair dues, you don't often sing, do you?
No.
What's your favourite hairstyle is a stylish bob, a high ponytail, really, really long, bangs, or a fringe, sleek and straight, half up, half down, a top knot, or practical.
What's practical?
Your hair is not practical.
Can you see this again? I don't remember.
I'm going to just answer for you. It's really, really long.
Yes.
Do any of your friends have longer hair than you do?
I think.
Oh, yeah. And got curly hair as well. Yeah. Okay, someday you want to be a baker, a business owner, a fashion designer, a zoologist, a singer, a writer, an athlete, or a CEO.
Well, maybe a baker.
Yeah, you do like doing the baking, don't you? In one word, your style is fun, classic, timeless, retro, bohemian, vintage, functional, or colourful.
Fun.
You live in a castle, a cottage, a small town, a big city, an apartment, a tower, a treehouse, or a mansion.
A mansion.
For all the listeners out there, we do not live in a mansion. But sure, we'll answer that. It's 4 p.m. That means it's time to hit the gym, take a stroll, have tea, work on your chess, see what your friends are up to, have a snack, take a nap, do your chores.
Have a snack.
You're always, every 5 minutes, can I have a snack? Your favourite colour is?
Green.
Green, great. You
Yeah.
are Snow White. Your big heart and sweet temperament allows you to make friends easily. 7 short friends. We bet you have at least 7 BFFs. Just remember, no mysterious apples for you. You're counting out your BFFs.
Yes.
Listeners, if you'd like to do your own Which Disney Princess Am I quiz, then it's on Disney.com. You can go and you're still counting.
Dang it, I do have 7.
You do have Amazing. All right, bye.
Bye.
I didn't see that come in, Snow White.
Snow White.
No.
Snow White.
I also had no idea that Disney have these kind of quizzes on their website.
They've got like literally loads of them.
Okay.
And the website is massive. Like if you're ever like, bored and want some Disney time, there's so much content.
Yeah.
And it looks like one of those websites where they curate what stuff goes onto it, but they then don't really take stuff down. Yeah, there's loads of stuff there from going back ages.
Yeah. Cool.
It's good fun.
What princess would you be, Simeon?
I didn't do the quiz myself, but
just pick
like
a princess.
to think of myself as I think I most relate to Rapunzel.
Okay.
Because I was locked up as a child, and then
this is pretty dark.
It's only dark if it's true. So, what about you?
What would I be? Yeah, I just think the more recent Disney princesses, whether you're talking Elsa and Anna, whether you're talking Moana, whether you're talking Rapunzel, are just more interesting, rounded characters.
They really are.
I think somewhere in there, maybe Anna.
Yep. Yeah, no, I get that.
Yeah.
Fun. Okay. Right, so we have some listener questions. So thank you for everybody who's written in. We're going to pick 3, starting with Jared, Citizens of Lorcana, who's written a few questions. I think we've answered some of these already, but
I've got one for you from Jared. Do you think we will get the lists of the starter decks before Gen Con?
No.
Okay.
Next question.
Come on, Jared's like our most loyal supporter.
He's everybody's most loyal supporter.
He's everybody
on that line. But yeah, no, I really appreciate what he does for the community. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
But no, sorry, I genuinely think people will. If I was doing that kind of reveal, I would want the first card lists from those things to be people at the event, opening it there at the event, and the excitement there.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Okay. Glimmer Gang podcast ask, where do you guys see yourselves playing competitively in the future? Do you see yourself as
round your kitchen table, Simeon? I hope to win.
Yep. You'll be competitively playing super janky decks, not following the meta at all.
Now, if there's if there are events in the UK, I'd quite like to check them out. If I've got the time, you can do it. Yeah. Sounds like a fun thing.
I think entering events, especially bigger events, for fun is so much a better time for me, or more what I want to do than entering events, because I want a chance.
You want to take a somewhat competitive deck, though, surely. You don't want.
You want a chance at not getting wiped out every single game. But I played at the UKGE Open for the I think it was European Open, whatever it was, for X-Wing.
Yeah,
and I took a list that was okay, but it wasn't like top of the meta.
Yeah, but it was fun.
But it was super fun to go there and meet people, and that was the fun thing, and play the games. That was the fun thing.
Yeah.
The people that won that event are people who play the same game every single night of their lives, and craft a list and play that same list and practice that list.
You said we're not going to be playing Lorcana every single night of our lives.
But maybe for funzo, but not like it does to me. That type of play. I know some people will be like, yes, and that's super fun for me.
Yeah.
But to me, the whole, get the top tier deck, put that top tier deck together, and practice that top tier deck against other meta top tier decks.
Yeah.
And make sure you can compete against all of them. Practice it so that you are the sharpest while playing that deck.
Yeah.
I understand how that can be attractive for some people, but that's definitely not me.
Okay.
I'm more of a, hey, look what this cool card that no one's paying attention to might do. Oh, it's not very good. Never mind. Hey, look, this one's got a frying pan on it. That's more my style.
Yeah. I don't think it's me either, but I often surprise myself at what I get into. So who knows? Let's see.
Yeah. And the other thing is, if it turns out I'm good at it,
why
sure,
at
that point, why not?
Yeah.
But locally, I'm sure there'll be some local games, game store tournaments, and I'll go to those because I like being with people and playing games. And if I do well, great, and if I don't do well, that's fine. It's not a problem. I've been playing Magic badly for years, so that hasn't stopped me. Jedi Geek Girl has a question. She asks, when Pixar gets added to the game, should the set that introduces it be completely Pixar-focused, have a 50-50 split with Disney Animation, or should it just be a small dash of Pixar?
Wow. Do you have an answer?
I am really interested in the world that they're building, the Great Illuminary, the Floodborn characters, what are they all about? And the story that they're building. And
the Dreamborn characters as well.
The Dreamborn characters, or the what does it all mean? Is this just cool stuff to sell cardboard, or is there like a deeper story that they've really crafted? It seems like the latter. So I would like a reason for those that universe to join. And I would like that to be part of the story with more established characters.
So it would be a small dash of Pixar for you?
I mean, either a small dash of Pixar or a great big dollop of Pixar, but
with a good reason.
There to be a storyline reason for them to add Pixar. I would, And I really like precursors to different things. You know, when you see when you watch a Marvel movie and they've got that literally 10-second clip at the end, the post-credit scene, and you see a tiny little snippet of something, you get excited about it for a year. This is why I've been making a podcast with you for a year about a game that doesn't even exist yet. Is that whole thing is I like getting excited for things. So I'd love to see something, I don't know, Sully off of Monsters Inc. Just peeping out of a door behind on a different card, and you go, "Oh my goodness! Does that mean they're coming in the next set?" And the next set we see another little bit of that or something, or there'll be artifacts.
That's going to be really interesting to notice, what comes up in the Easter eggs. It's called, isn't it?
I love that kind of thing. So I'd like to see that kind of narrative approach to it. That said, there's also the marketing pressures of a giant company. And if they are launching a movie that goes particularly well, I wouldn't be surprised if some cards got reskinned as those characters. What is it? Is it Elementary, the movie that's coming out?
I don't know. I haven't followed that.
Yeah, that's coming out in the summer. That's a Pixar movie. And if that goes massively well, I wouldn't be surprised if a couple of characters in a year's time appear. They were maybe card designs with a slightly different design, but they had reskinned them to those characters because they're that popular. If Anna and Elsa came out now, you would have to put them into the set. Frozen came out next month. The game
was Frozen that popular when it came out initially, or is it built? I feel like it's built up over time.
When it came out initially, my eldest was in just started school. they had a fancy dress party.
Okay, so it's always been huge.
Almost every single other girl was one of the Frozen sisters.
Yeah.
My eldest, she went as Buzz Lightyear.
So cool.
Proudest day of my life. Anyway, but yeah, it was massive when it came out.
Yeah. So my thing is, are we going to get Pixar characters? I don't know. Because why wouldn't they? And maybe we'll find out in this first chapter. Because why wouldn't they start sprinkling them in from the start if they're going to be in?
Well, because
it's not a different universe. Disney itself isn't a universe.
No.
So it's not like it's a different universe. So are there copyright issues going on? Is there something that still needs to be negotiated? Like, what's the reason it's not there now?
I'd say it's a licensing agreement. And for Disney, it's more sensible to go, okay, you can license these movies.
The Walt Disney movies.
And have an exhaustive list. Just these are the movies you can do. You can't do anything outside these movies. And because then they can license other things. We've just seen this with Star Wars. So Star Wars, Fantasy Flight are producing a trading card game or collectible card game, I'm not sure which. Another one for Star Wars. Now, they already had the license because of Star Wars Destiny, which is they're not producing anymore. So Fantasy Flight are doing this. So we're probably not going to see the Star Wars universe. Fantasy Flight often also have the Marvel license for Marvel Champions.
Yeah.
So we're not going to see, the Marvel universe from Disney, which are all owned by Disney. Pixar, I don't know. Pixar seems to be less of a universe, doesn't it?
Yeah, and I wonder about creative control, because if Steve Jobs was still around, I don't know a huge amount about Steve Jobs, but what I do know about Steve Jobs is if he was still around, he wouldn't want a Dreamborn version of Buzz Lightyear to go out. He wouldn't want a Dreamborn version of Woody. He wouldn't want a Dreamborn version of who's the guy in Up, the grumpy old man.
Tune in next month when we get a seance with Steve Jobs to see whether David's right.
We could totally do this all with AI.
No. We've no idea what Steve Jobs was.
No, what I mean is Steve Jobs had very meticulous and tight controls. And I wonder if that's still in the culture at Pixar.
Yeah, it is a different studio, isn't it? They work separately.
Yeah.
I mean, it's an interesting thing. I hope we do see some of the characters, because some of the characters are incredible.
Well, they clearly are. That's some of the best movies that Disney make, aren't they? So
yeah. Nice. All right, thank you very much for your questions. Before we go, I went to see Guardians of the Galaxy.
I've seen it too.
With the child.
Yeah.
Nothing about the movie. I was just providing a little bit of background.
Okay.
And there's a shop that we go into next to the cinema where we buy secret sweets. And even though in the UK it's totally legal to, in fact, I think it's illegal to prevent people from taking their own drinks and snacks into the cinema.
Oh, okay.
I don't know, but it's you can take it in, but it's
there are cinemas in the world where that's not a thing.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
In some, like in other countries, you have to sneak them into. You've got to, it's like you have to buy the things there. You've got to sneak in your own stuff if you want to take in the stuff from
Okay, that explains why they try and charge you £5 for a pack of chocolate that would cost £1.
Next door, the shop next door. This shop next door, the shop next door. But I love doing this with my kids. I kind of like get them to do it stealthy anyway, even though it's allowed, just because it's a fun game. It's a fun game to have, shh, you're not allowed this. And drag in. Anyway, we went into the shop and they had Disney Lego blind bags. So we bought a couple.
This sounds fun.
And we bought one for you, David.
Oh, what is a Disney Lego blind bag? Is it like a minifigure? Is it like a set that you build?
It's a minifigure with Lego characters. We got what you want because Sorcerer Mickey is one of the possible things you can get.
And you've opened some of these already.
We've opened one of those and we got Pinocchio, which was super cute.
Yeah, so cute.
Super fun. However...
it's got Robin Hood. It's got Owl from Winnie the Pooh. It's got Jiminy Cricket, Cruella de Vil. That's a recent movie that I don't know. Coco. But is that Coco itself?
I haven't seen it. The only one I know is the song that's everywhere.
Looks like Moana, I think. Have I said Robin Hood? I think I've said everybody on there. Oh no, who's that? There's a Disney princess. There is a blonde female with a crown.
I think it's Aurora because it's got the right dress, right?
Pink dress, yes. Yeah.
Okay, I want you to very noisily, for our audio-only audience, open this bag and tell us what you got.
It's very exciting. I've got
a Lego brick.
a Lego base that says Disney 100 on it because Disney is 100. I've got
a piece of paper.
With Sorcerer Mickey on it.
What's it gonna be?
I've got. It's either a broomstick or a sorcerer's wooden wand.
Oh, you didn't, did you?
I don't know. It looks like maybe I don't know.
It could be anything. It's a stick. You've got a Lego stick.
Is there something else in it? There is. I totally did.
You got Sorcerer Mickey. Amazing.
I am so happy.
That couldn't have worked better. We totally didn't search these bags. Okay.
No, I don't think you did.
No,
I mean, unless you've got like one of those reseal things.
I honestly didn't. I honestly just got one and thought that would be fun if it was. Okay, I'm going to leave David to build this.
So, yeah, it's not a pre-built minifigure. It's one you have to build yourself.
And I will post a picture afterwards of the minifigure to our social medias. You can totally take a look. It's stop rattling, David. Stop rattling the papers. On social media, we are at Lorcana Podcast on Twitter and on TikTok, or you can send us an email if you want to get in touch. It's lorcanapodcast@gmail.com, and we'd love to hear your questions. If you would like your questions answered by two random guys in Wales talking about Lorcana, then send us a question. Likewise, if you've got any particular games that you want us to play at the end of these podcasts, we enjoy doing that. I enjoy making David suffer through that. All right, thanks everyone. Bye.
Bye.